Let's go.
What's up, all you savages out there? What's up? What's up? What's up? We are here with the Alliance, the gathering of the accents. Special episode today. We got with us Lee, Matt, Nick. Another pre-recorded because we're worldwide again here. Nick's over in London, Matt's New Orleans, and Lee is in Australia, aka the island of Dr. Moreau. Uh, so welcome, guys. What's going on? How are you?
I'm well.
This show. Yeah. And I don't know who that guy is. He's just some like dude. Whatever. Hey, Arnold. Yeah.
Arnold O'Toole joining us tonight. It's a privilege and an honor, sir. Thank you. Nick, you doing all right, brother?
Yeah, doing good, man. Thanks. How you doing?
I can't complain. Can't complain. We got a nice. The weather's been pretty nice here, so we've had some nice days. I'm just enjoying them before it gets too hot and humid. So
Yeah.
but anyways, man, let's talk some Savage Crucible. How exciting we got in the warehouse. First shipment, we got some figures from overseas, so a very exciting time. We're just as eager as everybody else to get these in hand. So I mean, congratulations to you guys first and foremost. You know, it's finally here, guys. How does everybody feel about that?
I'm pretty sad.
Yeah, I bet.
It's a bit surreal. It'll be trippy when they're in our hands.
Mhm.
Dude, wait until you get. I mean, obviously we've been to the convention.
Yeah,
Them a mess. Wait till you friggin' mess with.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
Beautiful possibility. Everything's really lovely on them. I can't wait.
Yeah, honestly, and the pop and swap, all that, it's awesome because, like Matt said, we've kind of been dealing with them at the shows, so we kind of have the feel of them a little bit. But once you have it at home, you're like, okay, I can beat this up a little more. I can let me push it a little bit, and it's gonna be awesome to see what people do with them. So, it's time, guys. We're gonna have some figures soon. But with that being said, let's talk about you guys in Savage Crucible. I would love for you guys to kind of go around and let us know a little bit about yourself, how you kind of got started with Savage Crucible. For some of you guys, My Action Figure Customs is involved in that, so we definitely love to hear about that. So whoever wants to go first, let me know. Otherwise, I'll pick straws here. Nick.
Nick.
Spider-Man.
Well, okay, let me think about it. I think Dave Proctor got me in touch with Rob in, was it 2021? Was it 2020? Shit, I think it was the end of 2020. And and I had a quick chat with Rob, and he's absolutely lovely guy, absolute diamond. We got along a treat, and he was just like, I kind of feel like you're the right guy to work on the Cult of the Abyss. And I was like, if it's weird shit from the deeps of the sea, that is entirely my jam. Yeah, and it's all gone from there, really. If it's a monster, if it's weird, if it's gross, if it's got like tentacles or claws or like a whole load of weird mouth bits, I'm gonna love it. So I've been really lucky to sculpt some really awesome stuff for Savage Crucible. It's I think it's the coolest thing I've ever worked on ever.
Nice.
Wow, that's cool to hear.
Crucible.
Nick, I believe Matt said, what have you worked on prior to Savage Crucible?
Oh wow, haha! I made a list because the last time I was in a chat like
That
this,
a scroll.
Rob went, "Oh yeah, so Nick, you worked on Lego and you worked on Doctor Who, and what else have you worked on?" And I just went, Lego. So this time I made a list. Obviously Lego. I worked on the Doctor Who toys, Torchwood toys. I did some Harry Potter stuff for Tomy. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit for Eagle Moss.
Hold on. Boys, I've done the movies too.
No, just the toys. So you worked on the movies, which makes you cooler, and I'm very, very jealous of that.
Boys, movies that I did. So I worked on Doctor Who, I worked on Torchwood, worked on The Hobbit. My toy.
But no,
That's awesome.
that's cool, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. Man.
I've done some stuff for Boss Fight recently, a bit for Valaverse, a bit for Marauder Task Force.
I've got some of those. They're great.
Sorry,
I have some of those. They're great.
Yeah, I've not actually seen any in hand. Like, we really don't get a lot of stuff imported to the UK, and it's like if it is imported, like the shops put such a hike on them. You go like, you look at the price, you're like, go.
Yeah, I remember those. When I was in the '90s, my uncle used to always bring me figures from the United States because the prices were like so much more, with toys and stuff. So, say it again, Matt. What was it?
Moved here.
Yeah. Straight to the source.
Straight to the source, exactly. You guys seem like you're hearing me.
Yeah, you're coming in a little choppy.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Now it's not too bad. Now it's not too bad. So, but with that, thank you, Nick. Thank you for letting us know, man. You got quite the roster there. Some awesome stuff that you've worked on. So, and then also, Cult the Abyss, the Harbinger. He is awesome. Everybody loves him. He gets, he always gets people to turn around and look at him. So, definitely some awesome sculpt work on that, Nick. So
we have a lot of people, don't we? And point out that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, loads of people love that guy, dude.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. I'm so excited for that figure. I think that was the first thing that I worked on for Rob. Yeah, and it's just
great texture in all the horns and stuff. Really cool. Really cool.
Yeah. Such a cool
Matt, let's hop over to you. Let us know a little bit about yourself, man. Let us plug. Come on, plug it in. Give us the movies.
Oh, me, I like talking about stuff.
No, not you.
Yeah, I met Rob. I was doing my own little thing. My own little thing called Castle of Power. I did that He-Man castle years and years ago, and that kind of got a little notoriety on the internet and stuff. And then I ended up doing like little kits for Master Universe Classics, and little kits for eventually for Mythic Legions and stuff, little heads. And Rob got in contact with me and was like, "Hey, you want to sell a shit ton more rather than molding and casting them yourself?" And I was thinking, well, I don't know who this dude is. I knew he was the man because, but I was thinking, yeah, he looks really suspect. I don't know, man. And then so I thought, well, okay, I'll give it a shot, and I sent him some stuff over. He scanned them and got them digitally restored, made to look so there was you know, because you know when you scan something, it looks a bit crap. Anyway, and he you know he was selling like, you know, hundreds and hundreds of them. I was thinking, holy shit, you know, this is ridiculous. So I was getting checks each month, as we all know, we was all getting checks and stuff. And then so obviously that just developed into doing what we're doing here in Savage Crucible, and couldn't be happier. You know, it's obviously not a full-time gig for me. I have to do other stuff to supplement, but if it could be a full-time gig, I'd love it.
Oh yes.
Making toys for a living is amazing. You know, like working on film's great, but 90% of working on film it's fun for about the first 3 hours to 2 to 3 hours of the day when you're doing the makeup application. Because I just, if people don't know, I do makeup effects. So the first 2 hours of the day is like doing makeup application. It's great because you're really in there and you're making it work. But then the rest of the day is just sitting on set, and it's so bloody boring.
Oh, I can imagine.
But it's fun. It's fun. You saying, Nick, about working on Torchwood and Doctor Who and stuff, because that means you probably did figures of like characters that I did.
Yeah,
you know?
that's very likely. Yeah, I mean, I
did the Angels. Say again.
I worked on Doctor Who toys for about 7 years. So yeah, did you say the
Definitely.
Angel?
Yeah, I did the Angels. I did the Ood. I did the Rhino guys. I did so many. Oh no, my buddy Martin did the Rhino guys. I did bits and pieces. It's so many little bits and pieces. So it'd be interesting to know which ones you did, so I could be like, yeah, that one. So yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
We need to have a proper chat about that. So I've definitely made action figures of stuff that you've put on film. That's so cool.
Isn't that crazy?
How awesome. This is great.
All world.
And Matt, you know, you were talking about sculpting and stuff. You did you know, like casting when you first started with that?
Yeah. So I'd sculpt it in wax, just traditional style, just in castelline or plastiline. Just sculpt. I mean, now I'm like, I'll get about 4 pairs of these on top of each other to actually sculpt. But you know, a few years ago I had 2020, and I'd just sculpt those little heads, and then literally just pour silicone over them and make a little mold, and then pour fast cast, which is like a 2-part liquid plastic. You just mix it together 50-50, and you just pour it into the mold, shake it around to get rid of the air bubbles, and then pop it out about 5 minutes later, and you perfect little plastic cast, you know. So I'd do that, and I'd pour up, and I'd sell about 50 at a time, you know, but maybe not even that, you know. And then when Rob come along, he's like selling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. I'm like, holy shit, this is ridiculous, you know. So I got a big fat check at the end of the month, and I was sucked in. And of course, back then as well, I was really skeptical about 3D printing, you know, because I'd seen sort of like earlier prints with the scan lines and stuff, and I was like, yeah, you know, they all look a bit shit. And then when Rob sent me one, I was literally blown away, because I'm an old fart, you know. I'm like, oh, traditional sculpting, you know, blah blah blah. And when I held one, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, microscope to the scan lines, you know, with the new ones, particularly with the new scanners, with the new printers, they're amazing. So now I'm like a devotee. I'm all in.
Yeah. How awesome, man. Yeah, and I mean, you know, some of the dwarf heads that you've sculpted too, Matt, those have been amazing. You know, I know you're like, oh, they're a little outdated for you, you know, but those are some of my favorites, you know, favorites of all time. So
I think with wax and clay, you get those, you know, when you get like a little tiny sculpting tool and you're holding your breath so that you don't nudge it. Sometimes you can nudge into a happy accident, you know, and you go, ooh, the eyebrow's got so much character all of a sudden, and it, you know, like you give it a little tweak to here or a little push up with the chip, and you just think, oh, that, and then you just start working it into the sculpt. And sometimes I think that you can get a tremendous amount of character. Like one of the first ones I did, I can't even remember the dwarf's name, but it's the bald one with the big huge beard. I know that doesn't really narrow it down.
Yeah, right. I'm like
the ones, but he's literally one of my favorite ones because he's got like just a great pathos to his face, you know, if I do say so myself. But But that's one of my favorite. But some of the others, I'm like, you know, these are, you know. But I'm trying to learn to digitally sculpt. But it's like, you know, I'm like a caveman bashing at the keypad. You know, like it's
no good.
yeah, it's old man trying to figure it out. But you know, I'll figure it eventually. I had a
great.
Blender. Is it Blender? No, not Blender. Novak? No, Nomad.
Nomad.
I had to mess around with an app on my iPad because I haven't got a laptop, and it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun mess. It's like chicken wire basically, right? You know, just pushing it around, then remeshing, then more chicken wire, then more. So I gave it a little go, and I was like, oh, I could get into this, but
Nice.
the technical aspect that kind of scares me. I'm like, holy shit. But yeah, me, Lee.
Hey everyone. Rob contacted me a few years ago. I think I'd made something. I can't remember. I think it might have been a head or a little statue or something. And Rob contacted me and said, "Hey, would you like to do some work for my action figure customs?" And as Matt said before, I was thinking, "Who's this guy?" But I did it, and Rob sent me. I think it might have been one of the rat heads that I did. It might have been one of the first ones, and he sent it to me, and I had the shakes looking at it. It was like because like as was mentioned before, the only digital printing I'd ever seen was the filament printing with the lines in it.
Yeah.
And I just thought this is not real. It was like I was like, who did this? You know, because looking at something on my screen is totally different than getting something in my hand that I can have. You know, but yeah, I worked with my action figure customs for a few years. I enjoy the weird faces, and I got into doing some armor, a few weapons, but mostly armor and faces. And then Savage Crucible came into play, and I did a few heads for that in series 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sculpted the throne for, and that'll come out when the Harbinger comes out. So that'll get released then to go with Nick's Harbinger.
That's great.
So yeah.
Can't wait on that.
Lee, how big do you think it's going to be with you? Like, you know, with it, show me with your hands.
Rightio. I would say at least.
Wow.
Because I think the widest part on that, I'm trying to remember now. If it's it might be the nippers. I think it's either the nippers or there are 2 tentacles, but I would say it's about that big. It's going to need a good size plate for it to go on. But I love that idea. I mean, Rubus did the drawing for that,
Yeah.
and I remember Rob said, "Oh, I've got something for you to do," and I'm like, "Oh," and for those who don't know, I'm a fairly nervous kind of a person when it comes to my work, and I thought, "Oh yeah, yeah, give me a look. What do you want me to do?" And he puts this picture back up, and I immediately sent Rob a picture of a guy taking a heart attack, and he goes, and I thought, oh, and like most of the things I do, I just, if I find something is a bit overwhelming, I just break it down into little bits. So I just looked at the picture that Rubus made, and I just thought, oh, righty, I think I might have started on just the blocky looking chair, and then I began doing each little part, and that's all I concentrated on. And before you know it, the most fun part for me of any of the projects that I've worked on is, and that includes even something like a face, because I tend to do things in parts like, you know, instead of sculpting teeth into a solid piece of clay, I call it clay, but you know what I mean, the digital. I prefer to just make each tooth That way, if I stuff something up, I can always go back and delete that one little part. And the most fun part for me of any project is when you look back and you think, okay, there comes a time when you just got to say, it's out of my hands now. Otherwise, I just keep going and going like my novel. Yeah, the most fun part for me is when you get to just solidify it, and that's it. That's what it is now, and putting it all together, and yeah, it's so good, it's so rewarding when you look back and say, oh yeah, that was a bit of a journey. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Um,
Like the way your hands look at the top of my head, Lee. Like that.
yeah, it totally looks like you're resting them.
Unreal.
You're not able to squeezing your nipples, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
wait a minute, I'll
man.
just-
You did briefly. You said about a novel, Lee, and now tell us a little bit about
No.
that.
Yeah, it's,
No, you don't want to talk. Oh,
it's,
come on.
I've known those characters before I knew my wife, and we've been together for 30 years. But what was happening at the time? I was writing a third novel, and then Rob got in contact with me, and then I'm like, I got plenty of time, so I just put all that aside, and then I began sculpting for my action figure customs. But that was a few years ago, and I just thought it was basically recently. I just thought if I don't get this done, because at the stage I am now, I'm doing the very last edit. There's been a lot of very last edits, but this really is the last edit, and yeah, and I'm picky, so I really need to get it done. I want to get the first two done, and we'll see.
Can you share what it's called?
Sorry?
Can you share what it's called?
No. I don't want to talk about it at all.
No.
No. I've kept those secrets.
That's all we're gonna get out of Lee right there.
Yeah. Well, you know what Rob did recently? He goes, oh, yeah, I spoke to Robin, and she said that it's okay that you send me the novel. And I'm like, no, she didn't. That's not
Nice
what I
try,
said. That's not what I said, but that's the PG version of it.
I fuck on this. We're pretty rich.
Oh, nice. Well, talking about My Action Figure Customs, we did announce that My Action Figure Customs will be having a comeback, a little bit of a different direction from what it was before.
Yeah.
So without revealing too much, because we want to keep it as a surprise for some people. What are your thoughts? What do you guys want to share with the viewers out there and the fan base? What can they be expecting from My Action Figure Customs?
Well, is this something we can get into? Because you just said it's kind of a surprise. So,
well, I guess not great detail. We can like tiptoe around, what people can expect. I think it would be a nice surprise for people to actually see what it is.
Yeah. Well, it's the actual. Here's my best tiptoeing, but it's the format. Is that a good word?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's going to be amazing, I think. Right.
Nice. And I believe that all you guys are working on things for My Action Figure Customs, going forward, correct?
I've done a few designs here.
Yeah. So, great stuff, guys. Yeah, everybody. We got some cool figures coming into from the get go, so it's going to be great to begin with, but it's just going to amplify the game even that much more. So, I'm super excited about that.
What is that? What is that? Am I saying that right? The customization. Customizability.
Customizability.
The custability, man, that's gonna be amazing.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Well, with you guys, can you recall a time or a specific event or a specific toy in our situation that kind of sets you on the path that you are, on today? Nick?
Ooh, I would say vintage GI Joes. Like, I mean, well, it was called Action Force over here in the 80s. But like, I had Star Wars figures and they were great, and I had some He-Man figures and they were great. But suddenly to go from a figure with like 5 points of articulation that can just like do this, suddenly, I got that first like O-ring GI Joe, and it blew my mind.
Which one did you get? Which first one?
I got Destro. I'm not
Mine
quite
was-
sure why. Like, I got it for like Easter, and like, my nan was like, "Oh, a strange man in a leather jumpsuit with an open chest and a big medallion. My 6-year-old will love this." But yeah, he was awesome. He had that little backpack that opened and closed. Oh man,
Yeah.
he was wicked. And that was it.
That's I mean, thinking back, like GI Joe was a very revolutionary thing to come out, like you said, from what we were getting as far as toys, and then we got these Joes all of a sudden that have them, awesome articulation. It was definitely a mark in history for sure. So
What from
now I'm in this situation where I've got
yeah,
classified GI Joes.
hold on.
Sideshow GI Joes, the 3 3/4 inch 25th anniversary GI Joes, and then I've got I don't know, like 500 O-rings and vehicles. I've got I'd say about 120 Sigma 6, which were never sold in England. I was just buying them off eBay.
Yes.
I went crazy for Sigma 6. It got well out of hand. Yeah. And I've dressed like Dreadnought for like.
I only had Snake Eyes from the Sigma 6.
Do you have any of the old Action Force originals?
I have like not many. I was a bit too young for them.
Right. Yeah.
That's sort of my British Action Force friends, because that's what it's all about. It's all about the Palatoy.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
I have a lot of friends I should introduce you to, because I know a bunch of dudes, and like Palatoy is the light in the way, and
that's the Robo Skull and all that stuff.
Have you seen the new Robo Skull coming out?
Yeah, dude.
Oh God,
I got that on order straight away.
But
beautiful. I think that I'm exactly the same as you, but being that little bit older, I think I'm a little bit older. I can tell. Mine was it was He-Man, and it wasn't because, but I was with you the minute Joe appeared, and with the articulation, everything. I was straight into Joe's, and it was like the minute I could like Dremel down or scratch down with a kitchen knife, gung ho's vest, and then paint him and try and make a barbarian out of him. I was basically trying to make He-Man figures or posable versions of my He-Man figures. But it was when I saw that first piece of packaging art of He-Man, and then and that's the mistake I think they make with the new He-Man figures. They're so bright.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, if you look at a vintage He-Man, he's got like a normal skin tone. He's not bright orange. He's got a normal, cool skin tone. And but I remember as a kid seeing those figures, Skeletor and He-Man particularly, and Beastman, and just tripping out, going like, this is like a massive, muscular dude who can get out of people with his axe. And of course, that was my play pattern. It was just like death and carnage, like Blonde Conan, And then I saw the cartoon, and I was like, that's crap.
That drove me nuts. So it was like, "I'll get you, He-Man," and He-Man just like picks up Merman and like throws him in a puddle of mud, and then he's like, "Oh, next time." And I'm like, get up.
Yeah,
I always thought Skeletor was pretty hilarious though, in the.
The like the whole like that's like the best like
skeletons now without doing the Skeletor voice. It's ruined it for me.
This man, you very fool.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
You fool.
The whole curses. Yeah, curses. Yeah.
I dressed up for Halloween one year and it was wicked.
We need to voice a cartoon, guys.
Yeah. Good. Oh my God, that would be great.
So in Australia, did you have G.I. Joe or Action Force?
It would have been G.I. Joe, but when I was young, I don't recall the small ones. We had the Action
yeah.
Man kind of ones, but I'm pretty sure they were G.I. Joes. They were really tall. Does that sound about right? Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
I know we had Action Man, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure when I was really young, they were really big.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, about 12 inches.
Yeah, were they clothed? They were clothed, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Soft, like
Yeah.
the soft fuzzy hair. Yeah. I
Yeah.
had him during the 90s because they did like they revamped him like Action Man
Right.
and had the vehicles and all that. Yep.
Yeah.
I got a couple of them and I tried to customize them into like comic book characters and they just really sucked.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, the wet works out of like action, like the 90s Action Man, and they were just pieces of shit.
And didn't they have Barbie arms and Barbie legs, like ratcheted with a rubber sleeve kind of thing?
Yeah.
It was like, pretty bad.
Range of motion was from there to there.
Oh, I think you might be being generous.
Right.
I had the karate version, which it had like the sculpted on chest with the speaker inside, and you twist the hip, and then you press the button on the back, and it makes the hi-ya sound, and the legs would flip forward.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That was the bad moments in G.I. Joe.
No, yeah. I mean, I don't. Now, is Action Man?
Yeah.
Action Man is part of the G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Well, and its Palatoy was basically a sister company to
right.
To Hasbro. Yeah. No, it's Hasbro. Yeah, and so they borrowed the molds, and they call them Action Man instead of G.I. Joe.
Gotcha, G.I. Joe, right?
That's what Bobby Valor brought. He brought the name, Action Force. So Action Man then shrunk down to become Action Force, and that's why if you look at the old original Action Force figures in UK, there was miniaturized versions of the like 6 classic Action Man, which was like German Soldier, Frog Diver, SAS Commando, blah blah blah, whatever it is, and they all had the little scar. The little
right, yeah. Action Man, yes, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And then eventually they ended up borrowing the molds more and making the little O-ring versions of the characters, but just giving them different names. Like I think Snake Eyes was called Stalker in the original. He was like an yeah, so it was like a lot of different stuff going on. But ultimately, I think the comics blended the two sort of together, and I think Baron Ironblood, who was the original Palatoy bad guy, eventually ended up becoming Cobra Commander, according to the comics.
Right.
So, yeah. I love that stuff, so it's kind of like stuck in my brain. A bunch of use stuck in my brain.
I'm not got it.
Lee, what about you, man? Oh, what's that, Nick?
No, I was going to say I've got a custom Baron Ironblood that I worked on a few years ago, and it's in here somewhere, but I don't.
It's buried treasure.
It's in here. I mean, most of the buried treasure in my room is like moths living in the carpet. But
yeah. Silverfish. Hey, is it a Baron Ironblood?
Yeah, Baron Ironblood.
Nice. I'm working
in Cobra Commander, and yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, good stuff.
Lee, what about you, man? What's a toy or an event?
Well, toys when I was young, toys were fairly limited. I remember when Star Wars came out, I thought that was pretty fantastic. The what are they, 3 3/4 or 1979? Is that about right?
Yeah.
And my first action figure, I guess, was Chewbacca and someone else. I don't remember the other, but I as a child, I was obsessed with monsters. I just absolutely love monsters. The very first toy that I can recall was a Mego the living werewolf, I think it was called, and he had a big snout. Look it up; it's so good. I hope Mego redoes that, with a more modern look, because they've done plenty of werewolves. Like I've got my Nosferatu here. I just love Mego, but yeah, when and then I had the werewolf, and I absolutely loved it. And as the years went on, or the first few years, I think I ended up getting Spider-Man, Batman. They end up doing a Hulk. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit older, I guess, than a few of you. Is that right?
Yeah. I think I might be the.
Yeah.
You mature like a good wine, Lee. You get better with age.
Yeah. I was born in '72.
Oh,
Oh dear God! No,
Were
I'm
you?
joking.
Asshole! You cheeky with the snapper. Yeah. If I had my walker, I'd chase you. Yeah,
you look
but
very good for your age, bro.
yeah. It's,
Were you there for the transition of black and white
go in
TV
the
to color?
Yes.
But I always craved monster toys, and skeletons and werewolves and vampires and that, and there wasn't, apart from the Mego, there just wasn't anything like that. And then by the time, say, Master of the Universe came around, I was already too old to really get into it. I'd watch the cartoons and that, but I was always one of those. I've never really grown up. Let's face it. But I have a younger cousin. He had so many. He had the Castle Grayskull, and he had a bunch of the figures. And I'm like, if only that had come out when I could have enjoyed them. So I secretly enjoyed watching him play with them. Oh, that sounds creepy, but anyway, I wasn't in the bush or anything like that. But anyway, so yeah, and then years later, I remember I met Robin. I think I was about 21, and we were walking through a store, and I saw this figure. It was a bat, and I went over, and Robin was shopping, and I went over and I picked up this bat, and it was a Batman man bat. I don't know if it was an animated card, the animated one, or I'm not sure, but I was just intrigued because I thought, what is this? I didn't know the character, and I was just staring at it, and I thought, this is kind of monster-like. And Robin came along, and she said, "Oh, what are you looking at?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just looking at this toy, And she goes, "If you want it, buy it." And I'm like, "But it's a toy." And she goes, "But if you want it, buy it." And she's regretted it ever since.
Yep, that was the rabbit hole.
Like even to prepare for today, I had to move so much out of this room, and it's all through the house. I keep saying every time I come on, "Oh, I'll do up this room," but I really will. I really do need to do up this room. I want to enjoy my toys. I want to display them, but I want to put them in cabinets. But I mean, what's the point in keep buying stuff if you're not gonna get to enjoy it, because they're just in giant boxes.
True.
At the moment. Like there would, if I didn't have this here, you would just see a wall of disgusting brown shipping boxes behind me. Only now it's right behind my chair, because it's getting a bit full. So I want to enjoy them. I want to. Even yesterday when I was making room, I had to break down some shipping boxes and stuff them into other ones and smaller ones, because some of them were getting a bit manky and squashed. And I was thinking, wow, did I buy this? I must have. And some of this stuff is from I've been collecting for 25 years. So goodness knows what treasure I've got in some of these boxes. But yeah, I just want to enjoy my toys. So
yeah, you got to send me that Diablo 2 Necromancer.
Yeah. Oh, tell me if this happens with some of you. You put away your toys. I see, Nick, you've got a lot of yours displayed. Is that your whole collection, or Have you got some
Oh,
put away?
No, there's more up. There's loads more over there. But I have so much in cardboard boxes, and
Yeah.
I can't stop buying new stuff. So it's this kind of thing where
No.
all of my plunderlings are in a box under my feet right now, and I love my plunderlings. I have like 20 plunderlings, but I go on eBay and some dude's selling like another 15, and I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Where am I going to
More.
put them? I'm going to put them in the same box under my feet.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is it's going through boxes, and a lot of my stuff I've kept in the shell so that it's protected, so that when I do eventually display them, they're going to be all good. And there's nothing worse than looking at it and it's in its shell and it's still deteriorated. Arms and legs have fallen off. It's like, oh, what the hell is happening? Some of the old some of the companies used to have clear joints, and those seem to be the type of ones that break down even if you've got them in a box.
Yeah.
So depressing. It's so depressing.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't even get to enjoy this, and now it's like a massacre in here.
Yeah, right.
Legs and arms and assholes everywhere. It's shit.
You guys used to get like any Micronauts? Did you guys get Micronauts?
Oh, yeah. When I was a kid, and there was
They were fantastic.
when I was a kid, there was also they did these steel. Was it Steel Man? It came out about the same time as Micronauts. So they had the rubber band kind of thing holding them together. What do you call that kind of construction?
The O-ring.
The
O-ring, yeah. And they were made of a die-cast metal, but they came out about the same time as Micronauts.
Oh,
and
Eagle Force.
I don't know, but I'm sure it had the word steel or something like that.
You remember?
And I don't remember. I'm terrible at age. All I remember is events in my life. So when I was in grade 3, I was really ill, and I was in hospital, and someone had bought me this toy, and it kind of looked like he had a motorbike cop helmet, and he was made of steel, and he was the Steel Man kind of thing. And there was this other kid next to me. He's going, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's made of steel." Like, and it accidentally fell out of bed, and someone came along and gave it to me. And he goes, "Oh, careful, you'll break your toy." And I'm like, "No, it's made of steel. Watch." I'm like, and I remember just rolling over.
Oh,
rolled my back to him.
No,
Dumbass kid. Yeah.
I remember having a Spider-Man, I believe, and a Superman metal. Like little.
What was it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, about as big as a GI. A bit bigger than a vintage.
I kind of remember the Spider-Man, but I don't recall what series that would have been, though.
Oh man, we're so old.
Yeah.
I remember a kitten toy I had one
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
Back in my day.
I get nostalgic now for things. I actually looked up that Steel Man recently.
Yeah.
I did find some on eBay. One day I might get one, and I'll promise I won't throw it to the ground.
Yeah.
But even toys that we had as kids, like you just took for granted because they were everywhere. Like you would go to a newsagent and they'd have all the sweets and stuff along the front, and then they'd have these boxes where they'd just come in from China, and they'd open the box and whack a sticker on, 20 cents for a rubber snake or whatever. But when I was a kid, there were these tortoises. They were everywhere, and they had they're about this big, and they had a hard shell that and kind of a rubbery, not too soft, but a rubber body. And the shell, the way it was constructed, the bottom clicked on with a peg through the top, and they were everywhere. Like you couldn't go to Man, I looked the other night for one of those. I'm like, oh, I've got to get one of those tortoises again. Could not find it anywhere. I'm sure they're still around, but they were everywhere as a kid, and it's not
Vintage Joe's, isn't it? The Vintage Joe's now, if you get like a Snake Eyes on card, it's worth like $300, and like
yeah.
you know, some of the more rare Palatoy ones are like $400-500. You know, just the one figure that came with the like Stalker and not Stalker, what's his name? Steeler, the guy that came with the tank. He's worth like
Yeah.
300.
Like I hunted this thing down. It was I think it was called this thing's called Starhawk, and it was from a line called Defenders of the Galaxy or something like that. And Defenders of the Galaxy was kind of like, it came out around about
Right. Yeah.
it was kind of one of those, they call them a He-Man rip-off kind of thing.
Yeah. Knockoff. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was they were everywhere, and they've still got like a they've still got a following. Plenty of people still want those on card. But I end up finding this, I don't know, at a Kmart or something when I was young. Probably right at the end of when I would have been about 13, and I think it was right at the end of when I stopped collecting. Wasn't my choice, but anyway. But I ended up losing my toy. It all got toys. They all got burnt, and then years later, I that just popped into my head, and I thought, oh, I wonder if I can find that. And yeah, I found it in Germany, and I mean, it cost a lot more than it did when I was 13. But I don't know. I just nostalgia stuff like that. Yeah, I love it. And like, you know, it's nothing. It's just a silly plastic thing, but it's got good detail. But you know, reminds me of when I was young, and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
I mean, nostalgia kind of drives a lot of what's going on right now. I mean, you know, it's a big part of the market for us as far as toy collectors, because they're hitting us now. You know, we used to be kids when all this stuff was popular.
Spend the money.
Mm-hmm. So they know what they're doing.
What do you? What guy? The guy that I was talking to you earlier about it, Stel, about people doing nods to things in so like Fresh Monkey Fiction, their kind of one of their main soldiers is like a red guy, and they're including like a Red Shadow helmet from Action Force, which you'll know about. And
Right.
what do you guys think about that? Because that, to me, I'm super excited about those, just because it's the only chance I'm ever going to be able to get that figure in that scale, you know, to go with my joke. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
No, that all that stuff looks great, and you know, I'm actually eagerly anticipating to get some. I have some pre-ordered.
Me
You know, so I'm hoping they're a great time. What's that?
Was that the Monster Force?
Monster Force, yeah.
Yeah. I got Dracula pre-ordered.
Same.
If I could afford it, I would get them all, and I would have them pitted against say some Valorverse guys. You know, I love all that steampunk looking stuff as well. You know, the monsters. Yeah.
You order Valorverse over in Australia?
No. No. Most of my honestly, most of the things I buy are from Big Bad Toy Store. Like there's just, I feel so bad for toy collectors and even kids today. I mean, people say, oh, kids today don't want to play with toys. Yeah. I say there is no market that, like, why would a kid buy the garbage that's on the shelf, at least in Australia now? I'm not sure. I'm sure it's the same everywhere. But the toys that they try to push on kids now are garbage compared to a few years ago. And I mean, I still love Toy Biz Lord of the Rings. A lot of people say, oh, that's so aged, but I thought that they were fantastic toys.
Dude, I had every single one of those.
Yeah, I was obsessed.
Every single one. And I lost them in the move to America.
Oh, what?
Yeah, I had the Burger King mail away Urukai, which
was no. So how do you lose something in a move?
I put it in my mother's
Oh, I heard this story.
shop, and it just went missing. Who knows? Someone got it. I don't know. But like, I'm still bitter about it.
I reckon it was an inside job. I reckon someone was like, "Hey, what's in all these boxes?" And you were like, "Nah, it's just my Lord of the Rings toys." And they were like,
Yeah.
"Take every one of them."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100%. So I reckon up on that shelf, and one of the workers in my mother-in-law's business saw him, was like, I reckon little Jimmy will like those, and was like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah, some guy was just helping her clean out and is like, oh, you don't need this stuff, do you? Like, I'll get rid of this for you.
And the sad thing about it was probably about 25 customs that I'd done, and some of them were sculpted from scratch, and all those are like, so annoying.
Some kid just does not even know what it is. It's like, just breaks it right there.
Just twisting on the arms and legs and snapping all.
That's
Oh,
all.
man. So without giving any spoilers again, what is an IP or some character that you guys would eventually possibly like to see in Savage Crucible?
Ooh.
Well, how can that be a spoiler if we?
I mean, we have some that we know are coming out.
Yeah.
You know,
which we can't. But something that isn't coming out, which I would love to for it to be, would be. Have you guys heard of David Gemmell? He's a fantasy author. He did a book called Legends of the Death Walker, and about a guy called Druss, who's like this old warrior. But he's done so many. The Waylanders and so many. But if we could get the license to his characters, I'd be over the moon. That's if you guys have never read David Gemmell books, they're kind of like I don't know the best way to explain them. They're very based in kind of very realistic kind of vibe to them, but but occasionally they'll have werewolves or magic or whatever, but not very. So it's almost like if you was watching Gladiator, and then a werewolf like started fighting in the arena. It's kind of like that. Like you'd be like, "Whoa, what's going on?" But his books are fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So that would be my answer. But yeah, I can't think of anything. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of comic books that would be awesome as well, but I can't think of anything right now. Oh, I'll tell you what, Mobius characters. Like Arzak. Like imagine an Arzak with a stone bird, like invited into Savage Crucible. I'd be loving. That'd be a fantastic.
Yeah, his artwork is wicked.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, it's clean. Such clean artwork. But yeah, any Mobius character, probably Arzak would be my big one.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Who else?
Who else? What do you guys think?
I'd love to see. I mean, the Crucible can draw in people from anywhere and any time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, getting the license to do Red Dead Redemption 2 is probably not going to be easy. But I would love some really, really good 1/12 scale cowboys, and no one does them. I know.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be down for that for sure.
Yeah,
that would be.
The only cowboy I would be interested in is Yul Brynner from Westworld. With his silver eyes. With those silver eyes. Oh yeah! Oh,
Diamond Select.
That would be amazing.
That me as a kid when I saw that film.
Yeah, he was amazing. I loved it. So good.
Yeah, I saw that when I was about 8 or something. And Yul Brynner is terrifying in that. I know that Arnie watched that as research for making the Terminator.
Oh, righty,
Yeah, but just mate,
good film.
Like regular face, removable face, and then a melty face from the spoiler alert. Anyone who's not seen the original Westworld, it came out in about 1978, so you've had enough time to watch it. But melty face, that would rock.
Mm-hmm.
That is when I was born, 1978.
Yeah, great year.
Yeah.
Lee, anybody that you can think of that?
I spoke the other day about this. I think some of the covers from Stephen Kit Jackson, I think it was, Choose Your Own Adventures. There's a lot of good creatures in that. And I mean, a lot of us, my age at least, were, Choose Your Own Adventure books were pretty big when I was young. But there's a lot of good characters on even just on the covers of those.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I had Forest of Doom, and I lost it. And the other day, I was obsessed with it, and it came in the mail. I went and ordered it, another one, and I had to make sure I ordered the vintage one, not the new art. I'm not poo-pooing the new art, but I wanted the one that I had when I was a kid. So I
Exactly.
made, and I'm like, oh, I said to it ended up turning up in the mail, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited about this, and oh, look at that amazing art. I love it, And then I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to actually read this kid's book. And then I showed Robin, and Robin looks at it, and she goes around the book, and she goes, Lee, no one's even opened this book. And I'm like, and she said, look at the spine. It's never been opened. And I'm like, damn it. I don't want to open it now. Like, I don't, shit. It's like, I've got this thing, I just feel like an absolute piece of crap if I wrecked it the way I go through stuff.
This is something I'd like to.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Imagine Slain in Savage Crucible.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Simon Bisley Slain. I just looked at my little bookshelf by my bed and I'm like, oh, yeah, Slain.
There was a figure of him years ago that came with the little, little goblin-looking fella.
Uko, yeah. Uko, whatever his name is. Yeah, it was terrible.
I enjoyed it the first time. See, again, we didn't have that we didn't have any of those kind of things here.
Exactly.
But the first time I saw that figure was, for those of you who don't know, there's a photographer, Dean Wright. He's a fireman. Dean Wright does these amazing photos for figures. And years ago, he used to do. He used to do comics made from photos. He like comical comics, and he'd take photos of each scene, and they were pretty hilarious. And he used Slain in one, and I'm like, oh wow, I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Figure it was. I was disappointed because Simon Bisley's got such a very specific way of drawing Slane's face, and the figure was kind of going like this.
Oh yeah.
Ducklet.
It's like a modern version of Slane.
His little duck
face.
But he'd be in Crucible, but nigh on impossible to get as a license, I would think, because that's a 2000 AD character. You obviously know the British comic 2000 AD. So I don't think we'd ever be getting their license. Owned by Rebellion right now, so yeah, which is a good thing, I think.
Yep.
But, yeah.
Well, we definitely have some nice options available.
What would you want?
What's that?
What would you want?
Ooh. Oh man. I might be a little, I don't know if you guys might know this, but there's a Japanese author, Kiyukuchi, if I think correctly, but he has a character, Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah.
So it's set kind of like in a post-apocalyptic world. Vampires used to kind of rule the world, but now they're, hunted and they're diminishing.
Yeah.
And D is basically like a hybrid. He's like, half vampire, half human, I guess. So I think he's got a great look. I love I believe 90 or 2000, the animated movie that they did. I think Vampire
Bloodline. There's two of them, but the second one's.
Yeah, it's way better. The second one. The first one's not bad. It's just the animation doesn't do it too much justice. Yeah. But I think that character. Yeah, I love that character. I love the fact that he's got this. I forget. Yeah, the palm, like it's like a little goblin, that, or like a demon that he's got like trapped on his hand, and it's basically like his what would you call it, like he always like criticizes D, and he's always kind of like the voice of reason.
Like the voice of reason.
Him, yeah. But it's cool too because if he gets trapped in spells, he can open him, and he's like a freaking wormhole, and he can just suck shit in. Stuff,
That'd
real
be cool
stuff.
Yeah.
But also the baddies out of that as well. Stelios, the Barbaroi, and
yes, the Barbaroi.
A baddie on a unicycle. So no more.
Mm-hmm.
With an accordion.
Piece of advice: definitely watch the dub version. Which when it comes to anime, it's always better.
What kind of worms there saying dub's better?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or did I say dub? No, I'm like, don't watch the dub, watch the subtitle. That's what I meant to say.
Right.
Yeah, because the dub version.
I might be offending you if you're saying dub over sub on every anime.
Yeah, no, that's totally meant the opposite.
I'm
my bad.
Almost infighting.
So that's my pick. I think that.
Well, of course, the classic pick is something we could probably never have, which is Conan.
Yeah.
And
that would,
if I could do a good Conan, I mean, that would be, that's the best right there, doing Conan.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've got close with the Warrior with Ball and Chain.
Yeah.
But to call him Conan, to say Conan.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know he's been done to death. I know a lot of people have done him, but it's like to have that character in Savage Crucible would be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be just such a cool thing.
You never know. Eventually, down the line, once everybody else kind of diminishes, because there's a good amount of Conan figures available on the market right now. So
yeah. So they're not averse to lending out the light, or rights. But yeah. That'd be
Solomon Kane. I like the look of Solomon Kane.
Solomon Kane would be
Savage Crucible version of Solomon Kane would be unreal.
That'd be great.
All right.
I'm going to say Ninja Scroll.
Oh.
I mean, figures, but the prototypes I've seen of the Fwish figures, they need a little bit more work.
Yeah.
Like to make a massive figure of like Tessai, like the massive stone dude. That'd be so cool.
Man.
With like an interchangeable head, like his eye taken out. Wicked.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
with
cool.
the tongue, like he has to have like a nice sculpted tongue too, that for like licking the girl. Yeah.
The little button on the back that they can actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, just like moves it. We got some battle Danes in the Crucible world, and a question that I kind of thought would be fun to ask would be, if you had a animal companion for one day, what would it be? What would you have
in real life?
In real life, if you were in let's say you were in the Crucible and a
really busty barmaid.
What would you feed her?
As an animal companion. Thanks for looking at that.
We can't say on the podcast what Matt would feed the busty barmaid, because
we'll leave it open to translation. Yeah.
I'm out.
She'd be a dragon woman or something, but she'd be busting. Yeah.
Right.
That dragon thick. No.
I don't know. I'd like a wolf or some kind of demon bat or something like that.
I'll go with that. That's cool. Some dragon hawk from Fire and Ice.
Well,
yeah.
I'm not opposed to static companions. That would be pretty cool.
Boo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
If
they were that small, see, I don't know what can be done, and when it comes to articulation, I'm not sure what could be possible.
Well, the Lord of the Rings, remember that Gollum? that super articulated golem.
Yeah.
So you could do like a little, something as small as that can be articulated. You know what I mean?
True.
That's what
Right.
I gauge it on.
Yeah. Right.
Although he was
If
quite.
you wanted something smaller, like something to sit on someone's shoulder or whatever, there couldn't be that much. But
ball joint head, maybe.
yeah. Or I suppose you could do shoulders.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Something really little. Yeah, that.
I
Yeah.
think I think so. I mean, it's a character, and it's also something a bit functional, and it's like an accessory to
Yeah.
that person. Like that person always has this little horrible, scampering looking
Little
thing
things.
with him that
Mm-hmm.
spies for him. It's part of the story or whatever,
Little select from.
Oh yeah.
Like a little imp.
As soon as you said his name, all I could think of was his laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick, are you telling us you'd have a hawk?
Oh look,
With Spirit's
Look at that.
Eagle, it's got a ball jointed head. It's got
Mm-hmm.
placeable wings, so you got closed wings and open wings, and then he's actually got a bit of leg articulation as well. But then with oh, hold on, if I turn my camera sideways, we can zoom in a bit. Can we? Oh no, too
There
much.
we go. Yep.
So it's ball jointed head.
That freedom.
Yeah, there's
Mhm.
freedom.
Yeah, you're right,
He's
man.
got articulated wings with a separate pair of extended wings, and
Those extended
articulated legs.
terrible though.
If you want to, I mean,
Because the extended wings are kind of like go to a single ball. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Instead of
Mhm.
having the length of the, because if you look at an I've always displayed mine like you've got yours right now.
Right.
What
You know.
are you going to do with that? Is he walking around like a pterodactyl?
Yeah.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for a particular creature, that would be a pretty cool look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like if it was a bat, the way a bat wings go, that
that
would
would-
look pretty cool.
Yeah.
Or even a demon-esque. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely,
Yeah.
pass it along. It's not.
The only problem with the way that Joe and now with Marvel Legends with the Zabu, from the Khazar wave or whatever, the animals have been they've upped the ante so hard.
Oh yeah.
Anyone else doing anything else now is like, it's crap.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
because that wolf timber was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, that
Junkyard.
kind of set the bar on companions right
Oh.
now.
So any kind of animal now, I mean, me personally, kind of animal that people do, if it hasn't got, if it doesn't look like every joint moves, I'm like, yeah,
Right.
and
Right.
sculpts I've seen are beautiful, of different things, but
Mhm.
I've got to have a move in there, or I'm like a quite old art,
Right.
I mean, I bought
I would
two,
love.
but
Yeah.
get 2 alligators. So is he an alligator or a crocodile?
Yeah.
Oh, the little baby ones. Yep.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I bought 2 of them to get 2 alligators.
Yeah, he's a croc. Yeah, but yeah, I bought 2 because I had to have 2.
Me too.
Double fisting them.
So do the legs move on that figure?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
ball joints. He's got a not quite. No, he has got a ball jointed ankles.
Yeah.
Ball joint shoulders, ball joint wrists.
Double joint at the
Was
neck.
that-
Yeah.
Was that like a premium priced figure, Nick?
Yeah, he's
He-
got a bendy tail. Oh, yeah.
He was about 37, I think.
And
Yeah.
Oh, you can
what's
get
that-
him like $27 on Amazon right now.
What's that compared to a regular price figure?
about
It's a deluxe.
double.
It's the
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah, that is cool.
like 27, is that right, lads?
Right now, he's at $27 on Amazon. He's not too expensive, but
No.
originally, I think he was close to 40.
Right,
Yeah.
but like a regular
Yeah.
new figure at 27, right?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, look how good he is. He's even got like rib or like torso articulation.
I don't need any more figures, but you're really selling me.
Yeah,
on
you're
that.
selling this to Lee.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'd probably put like
Only
a darker
4
wash.
payments of $5.99 a month.
Yeah, yeah. I'd probably
Plastic
make mine a little bit darker and give him red eyes or something.
Yeah, he's really nice. Or she's
Yeah,
really, really nice.
that's cool.
It's a beautiful thing.
if I could have an animal companion for a day, it'd probably be like a badger, like a honey badger, dude. I think that would be awesome.
That would be
A honey
cool.
badger called Stubbs. I would just have him, you know, and I would go around to like noblemen. I'd be like, dude, I'll have Stubbs like check your food, just make sure it's not poisoned. And like Stubbs would just like, you know, like it would be awesome.
Put you in a head. Next time I see you, literally put you in a headlock. You are not in a fucking honey badger.
Dude, honey badgers are wicked. Come on.
You can have a dragon. I don't care. You can have a rideable honey badger.
A battle badger.
I used to read a lot of the D&D books, Ravenloft. I used to love Ravenloft, and there was a werebadger, a dwarf who was a werebadger. It was awesome.
Oh,
yeah, he was so good.
That'd be some cool designs with that one.
That sounds wicked.
I want to see some concept art for that to go along with the Throblin.
A Throblin, honey badger. What I'm gonna do,
mate. Well, gents, we've been on a little bit over an hour here, and you know, I could go on, you know, forever and ever talking with you guys. You know, it's always a great time talking. So, but with that being said, we're gonna bring this to a close. We've had a lot of fun. The figures are in. They're gonna be starting to shipping out to everybody. So everybody, you know, we can't wait to hear some feedback and see what you guys think. Closing out, Nick, anything that you're currently working on that you want to share, or
I cannot talk about what I'm working on, but I will say it's going to be an incredible figure. It's really awesome. It will fit with some figures that are already out, and I'm able to do something which I find really important, which is give the character a bow that doesn't have a string on it, so that photographers can put a real piece of string on it, so that then they can pose their characters drawing a bow. Because otherwise, if you put the string on it, like the way they do on, quite a few figures, making a bow that scale is just like a massive fucking sausage, and it looks shite. So real bowstrings on a future Savage Crucible figure. I mean, you'll have to put the string on yourself at home, but I'm pretty sure we've all got a bit of string at home and a drawer somewhere.
Yep, right.
Yeah, some black cotton. That's awesome.
Matt, anything, any last words you want to share? Any movies you're currently going to be working on?
Well, I was almost working on a very, I can't say what it is because it's not been announced yet, but a very awesome movie in New Zealand. But I got offered a different job here in New Orleans. Pays almost double the wage, and is for a lot long period. Because you know, when you're doing the gig economy, it's sort of like it means everything. To, you know, we're going to work 2 months on one amazing, awesome job, or 7, and it's not as good. You know, so I can't really say what the other thing is either. It's a TV show, but it'll be out, and it's like a procedural type TV show. So I'll be doing like tattoo cover up, bullet wounds, bruises, that kind of, but it affords me my life, so that's the one I'm gonna have to take, sadly.
Yep.
Plus nice. You get to stay home.
Yeah, and I get a kid as well, which is great. As lovely as New Zealand is, it's like I've been there a couple of times and it is beautiful. No, I would have liked to have went back, but next time,
Yeah, work on that second poster too, damn it.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to. Yeah. I tell you, as much as I love these lizards, they are hard to draw, man. It's like anything with a face that sticks out, and then you want them looking forward. Always
right.
So you've always got down or to the side, or you can never have it, so any kind of forward facing stuff always looks a little odd. So I'm like trying to.
No, it's gonna be great. I know it's gonna be great. So, Lee, anything you want to share with us? Last
No.
words?
No,
No, that's it.
I was happy to be here today, and thank you for having me. But
Oh
nothing
man,
I
the
can.
pleasure's all ours, man. We're happy to have you.
My busty
Um,
bar. That's
yes. Yeah, and for those that don't know, Lee has a plethora of awesome backdrops, and I'm glad that he went all out today with the rich mahogany. I guess it would be the mahogany library over there.
Yeah.
You got to me. I'm gonna assume like I'm gonna. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Now I can actually see
real
you
good
guys.
stuff.
You've been you three have been like a yellow blur, a brown blur, and a black blur for like the last for the last hour. Or
Hey,
whatever.
hey, you made it all the way through, Matt. We're doing okay. But with that being said, thank you again, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I know it's been, Nick, I know it's late for you. It's early for Lee.
Yeah.
Me and Matt, we're just about an hour apart, so it's not too bad for us.
I'm gonna go and have a sit down and relax and watch a movie. I think.
Exactly. Sounds good. So, and with that being said, you guys, thank you again, and we hope to catch up with you guys on the next episode. Thank you for those that tuned in to watch.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.